Hello and welcome back to the Making Fire podcast. This is a podcast where two longtime besties talk about their favorite TV show, Survivor. This week we'll be covering episode 5
I know, girl.
of Survivor season 48. How are we already 5 episodes in? But before we get into that, Riley, how are you?
True GAG.
True.
I'm doing so good. I have to talk about an experience I had at work 2 days ago.
Okay.
I'm a survivor.
Literally.
I work at a retail establishment, and how do I want to say this? Okay, so I work at a retail establishment, and it's getting hot outside. Our temperature is warm in our store, and sort of by our cash registers, there was sort of an odor, a smell. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, so I hadn't noticed it, but my managers were sort of standing by the cash wrap, and we're like, what is that smell? And then I came over, and one of I was like, what are you guys doing? And she said, it smells like a dead mouse over here.
No.
And I stood there, I took a whiff, and I said, oh my god, it does smell like a dead mouse over here. I'm familiar. I had an outdoor cat that used to bring me little presents in the night that I would wake up to.
And you love those presents.
I did love those presents. One time she brought a live bird into my bedroom. That was crazy work. So I was like, oh my god, it does smell. And then I couldn't stop thinking about the smell. And I was like, we have to find it. And they're like, that's what we're trying to do, but we just can't figure out where it's coming from. We have a refrigerator full of drinks by our register. And at first I was like, maybe it's behind here because this is probably really warm. And I bet you it went under here to like stay warm or whatever. And they're like, that's a good point. So I moved it was not there. And then we went to our cash registers, and we have these shelving units by the cash registers. And they're not on the floor. They're sort of like maybe an inch off the ground lift, but it's hollow on that inch. And then it's like the shelf. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So obviously there's a room for things under the shelf. And so we went in. There's a bunch of them, but the smell was located to one spot. And so we were like, it has to be here. We lifted up the first one. It was not strong. We were like, okay, it was like getting it. The second one, I was
You said warmer.
Right. Second one, hot. I was like, oh my god, this smells so bad. And then there was dust bunnies in there. We poked around at the dust bunnies. Couldn't see anything. So we were like, okay, open up the third one. Oh my god, I wanted to throw up. It smelled so bad. I was like, this is radiating a smell that nobody should have to encounter in their lives. This is disgusting. And then there was dust bunnies under there. Poked around, could not find, there was no visual.
Did you feed the dust bunnies any like carrots or anything?
No, they looked like they were full. There were a lot of things down there with them. I think they were keeping themselves entertained and full. It was looking fine. Uh-huh. So then we were like, it's a dust bunny. Like there's nothing down there, and we closed it all up, and then we're like, okay. And then one of my managers and I, maybe like 5 minutes, we were like had stepped away from the situation, and we just could not stop thinking about it. We were like, something has to have happened.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe like milk got spilled, or something like a boba or like a baby's milk or something got spilled, and it like went under, and it just didn't get cleaned up all the way. And we didn't clean up the dust bunnies. We left them under there. My manager was like, the smell is like gonna get worse. And I was like, yeah, as it gets hotter too outside, it's just gonna get worse. And she was like, maybe the dust bunnies have a smell to them. Maybe we should just clean up the dust bunnies.
Yeah, clean up their home.
Right. And I was like, okay, that's a good point. We'll go in. So one of my two managers were working on this. One of them went to lunch. And so it was just me and the other manager. And I got back from my break, and I was like, okay, let me clean this up. I sort of took the reins on this situation because nobody else sort of wanted to solve the problem. Like, they would have solved the problem if they had to. Does that make sense?
Like, if it would have gotten worse, that it would have been like, okay,
they would have stepped in. Yes, they would have if they had to. On the other hand, I'm a country boy born and raised.
At heart.
At heart. I was like, it's my hometown instinct. I was like, I just need to solve the problem. I said, you know what? I don't care. I'll do this. I would rather
get my hands dirty.
I'll get my hands dirty. Get that, what's that, Dirty Jobs? Basically, that was me the other day. So I was like, I'll do it. So I said, you know what? It'll be easier to just pick up the dust bunnies. They were huge. I was like, I'll just pick them up with, I had gloves on. I was like, it'll be easier for me to just grab them and throw them in the garbage instead of us trying to like get under, because it was just weird. The lip was weird and the angle was weird. I was like, it'll be much easier than trying to fit like a Swiffer or a broom or something. Let me just pick everything up with my hands. So then I'm doing it. The smell is bad. I'm like, Jesus Christ, there has to be something down here. We open up the first one, clean it. Oh no, we opened up the third one first, the last one, because the smell was just like the worst right there. So I was like, let's just start with this one. I start picking up dust bunnies. What do I find? A dead mouse.
Yeah.
Oof.
And you grabbed it with your hand?
With my gloved hands, yes.
I feel that's too much for me.
I put him up. It's okay. Maddie, after I was like, I got home, shower, everything went into the laundry bin. I washed my hands like 3 times. I sanitized all of my things. I was like, I have to. I like, just to like be safe. But yeah, it smelled so bad. And then we had to throw it away.
Yeah.
And dispose of it. But the smell went away pretty immediately. It was really great. I asked my manager I said, I need a sanitizing spray so I can clean up everything, because the smell's going to stay.
Yeah.
She was like, we have Lysol. I was like, okay, bring me the Lysol. The Lysol did go ahead and stain the floor. So that's not my issue.
That's better than the smell, though.
Right. So dead mouse has been disposed of, but that took up probably 45 minutes of my shift 2 days ago. It was a long. I was like, no, the problem has to be solved. I can't let we have to figure it out, because it's gonna bother me that it's just staying here. So that's what happened. That was really a great adventure. Fun fact for everybody, some Riley lore: in high school I was a janitor. So I texted my mom while I was at work. I said, you will not guess what I just did. And she said, there's your janitorial skills on your resume coming in handy.
Yes.
Always a lifelong learner, always using my experiences in other places.
Lifelong. Once you're a janitor, you're always a janitor.
Right. You can take the girl out of the janitorial job, but you can't take the janitorial job out of the girl.
You said you can take that roller trash can from my cold dead
hands. Yeah. So that's how I've been doing. That was such a fun experience. And now I have to ask. I've been curious this whole time. I have to know, Maddie, how are you?
Well, I was better. I think I'm still traumatized by any sort of mouse rat situation. So when I like hear that, it takes me back to a traumatizing time in my life.
Right.
I don't even think I can talk about one of the things that happened.
Legally.
It might be too graphic.
Do I know about it?
Yeah. Okay, I'll allude to what happened.
Are you talking?
When I came back from winter break, and I sort of went into the bathroom that was attached to my room. Do you remember? Does this ring bells?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So many things happened with that. Literally like a trauma response. Yeah. Fighting with my landlord. Literally.
I'm sorry, you talk about trauma response. I had a trauma response the other day. One of my manager, they were talking about being camp counselors, and I went, oh my God. And then one of my managers said, Riley, were you a camp counselor? And I went,
what?
I went, I exhausted breath. I was like, oh my God. Was I a camp counselor? Anyway, sorry.
That was fun. Some of my favorite pictures of us come from when we were camp counselors.
So true. I'm wearing a blanket that has a couple of those pictures on.
Oh, cute. Anyways, how am I? I'm good. I was going to talk about a food thing, but now I'm feeling kind of icked out.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Thank you for sharing that. You are so brave, because truly, I can't even touch gross things. Okay, wait. I have to be brave about something. So even if I'm driving and it's unavoidable to run over something that has already run over, even the feeling of
No,
that,
I know
like,
what you're.
sends a full shiver up my spine.
I
Like,
actually just got it when you were explaining it. I'm like, I know that feeling. I know something just feels wrong. Like, I'm like, oh my god, like,
I literally can't. I can't.
yeah.
Okay, anyway, something good that I've started doing is I'm a sweet treat kind of person. Like every evening, it's like a palate cleanser. I have to have it.
Right.
Always have the biggest sweet tooth. So I've started like week meal prepping my sweet treats. And
Love that.
in past weeks, it's just been like I bake a batch of cookies on Sunday, so I have a fresh one while I watch White Lotus, and then I can have one after dinner the rest of the week. This week, we upped the level. It is maybe a bit too much, so I haven't been doing it every single day, or like maybe a little nibbles, but I made a big batch of Muddy Buddies, and then I put them in like the little snack size Ziploc bags, and then my favorite is when they are like coming out of the fridge. So they're like chilled. And so now at my leisure, I can just go to the fridge and grab a little snack pack of Muddy Buddies.
Love
And that has just like made my week. It's so fun. But my fingers just like feel sticky all the time.
Yeah.
That's my only issue with them. But I highly recommend doing that. If you have self-control, that is sort of the issue, is when you just have like a big stack of Muddy Buddies individual, like in small portions in the fridge. It's like, well, I do sort of want all of these.
Muddy Buddies is like the Chex Mix, right?
Yes, and chocolate and
Yes.
peanut butter and powdered sugar.
Oh, I don't think I usually do the peanut butter one. I think I usually just do like the chocolate powdered sugar.
Ooh,
Do you recommend the ones with peanut butter?
Oh, 1000%.
I haven't had a Muddy Buddy in a long time. I might have to stop down to my local Chevron.
I highly recommend. They're so good too. I think I love a chocolate peanut butter situation. Like that is a top tier treat for me. So having that plus the powdered sugar and then the crunch of the rice checks, you just can't beat it. You just cannot beat it.
You're kind of making me salivate. I'm like, oh, I might have to go treat
well, if
myself.
only you live closer, you could come grab a bag from my fridge.
So true. So true.
So, anyways, that's what I have been up to this week between watching my fun shows. It's been pretty nice out this week. I even went for a walk at like almost 7 p.m. and it was still nice out. And I was
Love that.
This is the life, actually.
Love that for you.
So, yeah. But should we get into this episode?
Let's destroy them.
We open on Vula coming back from Tribal after Camilla and Kyle masterfully got Thomas out.
Right.
Shaheen is bummed that the California Girls Alliance sort of didn't even make it through one single tribal.
Which is funny because we put a lot of attention on the California girls just for them to sort of...
We did, and he was like, it was such a great alliance. I'm like, yeah, okay. I mean, maybe the potential was there,
right?
But, it didn't even play out at all. So I don't know if that we can call it a great alliance. But then Kyle tells the group that he knew to play his idol because he could tell that someone had gone through his bag. And basically the Oscar-winning performance just continues because they have no suspicions that him and Camilla work together and are close. And like that is just... I'm so glad that like the jig wasn't up after Tribal. Like they really continued it.
They kept it up. They kept it going.
Yeah.
Keep it all the way going to the end of the game, and people are going to be shocked that they work together.
Yeah.
People are going to say, "What do you mean you work together? You didn't know he had an idol."
Imagine people go up to like Shaheen and who's the other person?
Joe.
People go up to Shaheen and Joe when they're merged, and they're like, "Oh, do you think Camilla and Kyle are close?" And they're like, "There's no way." Those two act like they don't even know a thing about each other.
Yeah.
Anyways, immediately we move on to the reward challenge. Also, I just wanted to note, do you remember how last week we were talking about how Mitch is like really good at all these challenges and like throwing and stuff?
Yes.
Flashback, I forgot. He's a PE teacher.
I also had that realization when his occupation popped up. I went, oh, it makes sense now.
I was like, that's why he's good at all of these dumb little games and like throwing things. It makes so much sense. So I guess like that is an occupation to start looking out for. It's the lawyers, it's the, I don't know, whatever, And then those PE teachers are going to be good at challenges. But I was also thinking, I wonder how he's going to do when it's like individual. If it's more like
Yeah.
endurance based. Because we know he can throw and do a fun little game. But, anyways, that made me laugh. So they all walk in, and Bianca is stunned to see that Thomas is gone, unfortunately for her. But then let's get into this challenge. So I love how every episode we give a very vague description of the challenge. It's like, yeah, sure. So they have to like throw is what I meant.
Right.
They have to throw these like, I don't know, hacky sack looking things at a target to release some balls and then bounce them off this trampoline thing into a net and then sort of carry them to where they have to roll the balls onto a table thing. I'm sure you can picture in your brain.
No, like you're you did a really good job doing that, describing what was going on.
Thank you. The reward is, for first place, pastries, donuts, ham and cheese croissants
Oh my.
at the sanctuary. Where
Where?
good things happen.
Of course.
Of course. And the tribe that comes in second gets the leftovers back at
Gets a
camp.
little itsy bitsy.
A little snack.
Yeah.
Yeah. The challenge is fine. I don't really have any notes from during it. So Logie comes in first again, and Vula comes in second. And the interesting part is at the end, there's sort of some tension where Mary's talking about, we have food at camp, like, and now we get to go eat, like, we're gonna be so full, it's so nice. And then Say is like, she literally says, "Let's be mindful, let's be demure."
The mother off continues.
Exactly, from separate tribes. And she's like, some people have some food, some people have no food. So maybe let's like not be a poor winner. And then
Like Charity looked at Star or something and was like, "You're being a sore loser."
yeah, how about not being a sore loser?
Clock it.
And then as they're sort of walking off, Midge in a confessional literally says, "Girl, be quiet." Don't share your opinion.
But Jeff asked her opinion. Jeff was like, "How do you
Exactly.
feel?" I'm like, "I'm sorry. Get Say on the pod. I'm not here for Say slander by anybody."
No, at this point, no. I would love to have her on the pod. She can say all her feelings. As
I
long as they're
know.
not mean about us.
Right. Don't be mean about us. Say we will give you the platform to be mean about everybody else if you would like.
Yes, yes. To our many fans, we will give you that platform.
Yeah.
So, back at Siva. Bianca is feeling bummed about losing Thomas, but she's also like, you know what? It's okay. I can move on. I can play for myself, form new alliances. It's fine. Like, I'll overcome this. And then we have Chrissy and Say who are beefing a little because Say at the challenge was like, I want to sit out because I've played in every single challenge and I'm tired. And then Chrissy's like, I have played in every single challenge too. Like, you're not special. And then Say also like starts eating like the fruit and they don't have a bunch left. And Chrissy's like, she just walks in here after not doing the challenge and then she's eating our fruit. Like, take a beat.
I call shade. Number one. I think it's different. I get what Say was saying about the challenges because there's
Yeah.
something about the losing of the morale. Say has been performed in every challenge and lost a majority of them. I think that's more what she meant than I played in every challenge and I'm tired. It was more like I'm done playing challenges and losing. Like I'd rather it
Yeah.
like I'm fed up with that. Number one. Number two, it did sound like they had fruit rations. It didn't sound like
Yeah.
Say just went up and pulled a kiwi. Like I feel like I heard Chrissy saying something along the lines of, "Well, don't eat my apple or whatever. Like don't eat whatever."
She's like, we only have one apple left. Like, don't
Right.
eat that. Yeah.
So I call shade. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
Also, I would prefer to have an apple over a kiwi. Is that a hot take?
I feel like on Survivor, I would also rather have an apple. I love kiwis though. Flashback to me in college, they had kiwis in our dining hall and they were really cheap. And so I, for a period of time, would get one almost every day at every meal. And I did sort of like burn my mouth bad. and like,
Right.
my tongue was pretty burned. It was not a fun situation. So I did take a break from kiwis for a couple years after that. I was traumatized. Also, I know if you eat like kiwis and stuff like out in the sun, if it like gets on you, it can burn really bad.
Oh, I
You get
didn't
like
know
an
all that.
acid burn.
I did
Yeah.
not know all of that.
So I would stick to the apples. Anyways, on the beach, Chrissy and Mitch are talking, and they're like, if we go to a vote tomorrow, let's keep Bianca and go for Say. And they're just like, she's sort of not my favorite around camp. Don't love the attitude. And like, I agree with you for like the after the challenge stuff, but I also do, based on like previous episodes, I feel like it would be not always the most fun to live around Say at camp. And I think we're
Yeah.
just getting a lot less of it now that they haven't, but like they didn't lose last episode, so we didn't get to see it. I mean, we really didn't even see it much this episode, but it just wasn't highlighted, so I wonder what it actually looks like between them. Then Mitch talks to Bianca about wanting to work with her long term and to get Say out next. And Bianca is loving this because Say also wants to work with her. And so now she's like, I've got options. I'm in a good spot even though I don't have a vote.
The downfall of Bianca this episode needs to be studied because she really did have a great base, a great foundation she had built for herself and just ruined it all in the last second.
Yeah.
But no, at this point of the episode, I was like, I agree. Like you have a really good standing at the moment. Like you positioned yourself very nicely.
Yeah, for sure. Say, tell Cedric that Chrissy needs to go because she keeps momming her to death and it's just generally driving her crazy. Which, yeah, that would bother me too. And then Say in a confessional is like, I don't love having to work with Cedric, but let's use him as a vote for now so then later I can do whatever I want. But like, he's my number, unfortunately for me. But let's go to the sanctuary.
Where
Things
good things happen.
Yeah. So they are all in heaven walking in. There's different juices and coffees and milk. We'll get to it.
Of course.
And pastries. And one moment that was really interesting is we have David drinking his favorite milk, which is whole milk, in case you were curious. And it's set to like really dramatic music.
Yeah.
Like, was that necessary?
Also, I love. He was like, none of that 2% crap. I was like, oh my god. I was like, I bet you drink the raw cow's milk. I bet.
Oh my god, ew.
Something is off. Something about this whole situation. I'm sorry. I'm like, I get you love your milk, and I bet you that's why your muscles are really big. And I don't have big muscles, so I kudos to you. But that seems unnatural to me.
I can't even talk about it. I have like such a love-hate relationship.
Drinking a glass of whole milk
I can't
every
even.
single day. Whole milk.
It makes me want to gag.
We are living in the year 2025. Down with big dairy. What is that all about?
Okay, not too much on dairy.
Okay, calm down.
I love cheese.
I bet you do.
I do. My thing with milk, I'm very picky about milk. Not like the milk itself, but I have like quirks with milk. First of all, I cannot just drink it straight. But I don't mind a cereal if the milk is not like the forefront flavor. My issue is I pretty much like don't drink milk over the summer because something about like being hot and then milk in my stomach, I'm like, that's gross. My other big thing is that I cannot have the thought of milk and then either water or fizzy drinks in my stomach at the same time. Like, I'm gonna throw up thinking about it. They like are oil and water. I cannot have them both in my stomach at the same time. Oh, I can't. Like the, oh my god, it literally makes me like want to gag. Like the thought of having water and milk in my stomach.
I'm thinking about it as we're talking about it. I'm like, I don't drink milk. And now I'm like, I have to have some sort of calcium deficiency. I don't drink milk. I don't eat, I mean, I eat cheese. But that can't be enough.
I like chocolate milk. That just like feels different to me.
I don't drink chocolate milk.
But I don't remember when
I don't drink milk. I don't often eat things with milk. I mean, like, if I do eat things with milk in it, it has cheese in it too. So I'm never having milk by itself. I'll do cereal sometimes, but
Yeah. All in all, dairy is a winter thing to me. I don't know if I've talked about this on the podcast, but I'm a very firm ice cream is a fall, like not a summer thing. Like the last thing I want in the summer when it's hot out is to like eat heavy cream and dairy. Like that sounds gross to me. I'd rather have
yeah,
like,
I was about to say
slushy.
that. I was about to say that when you were saying that you don't do milk in the summer. I'm like, do you not eat ice cream?
No.
I love ice cream.
Ice cream is a winter thing for me. The only I swear it'll be like literally a blizzard out and I'll be like I need ice cream right now. Like
I
this
need
is
a
ice
blizzard
cream
from
weather.
Dairy Queen.
Yeah. Except I live in the Midwest. I don't go to Dairy Queen.
Right.
A different location is king around here.
Right.
Anyways, that's my take. So anyways, I cannot imagine being hot in Fiji and drinking milk. Like that sounds so nasty to me.
David ate it up.
Anyways,
Ate it up.
literally.
Freak. Oh.
They are all talking and they're annoyed by Say's comments at the challenge. And like, she is such a sore loser. I'm like, okay, not too much.
Not too much of my queen, y'all.
It really
Not too
wasn't that
much.
deep. And also, in Say's defense, like, I do kind of think Mary talking about already not being hungry and then going on this reward, I'm like, okay, they're like, you know that people are at your old camp and have nothing.
Right.
So I get where Say's coming from.
Mary just she's getting the taste of winning for the first time and she doesn't know how to act.
Yeah. And then the editors are dirty for this one because we have Charity talking about just how grateful she is being at the sanctuary and she's like literally crying. And then immediately it cuts to Eva who's in a confessional like, I don't care what she says. Charity is so fake. And then it cuts back and Charity's like so
Crying.
grateful and crying.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so messy.
It's so funny. I'm sorry, but the way that they set her up, I think is so funny. I don't think Charity has been proven to be a fake person so far. Like, I don't know, has she done stuff that's been like ingenuine?
No, the editor said, you know what? You're going to have your 5 seconds, Eva, later in this episode. We are going to make you look bad now.
Right.
Even though, like, you know that's not even the moment she was talking about. But the
Charity posted something to her Instagram story. I'll see if I was scrolling Twitter. Oh, she posted a picture. Not to jump. She posted this picture of them at Tribal, or at the challenge, hugging Eva. And she said, just know, even when you don't trust me, don't work with women, and call me not genuine, I must still be the first to come hold you and tell you I'm so proud of you. You did it, girl. 100% myself out there. And then she posted this tweet that somebody posted. She posted a tweet that somebody posted to Instagram, and then she posted that to the story. And it says, it's a picture of Sandra from her Game Changers, not Meet the Queens. I'm thinking of All Stars. What happens when you meet the people, like the preseason interviews and stuff?
Yeah.
Because Sandra has a famous clip where she says, "I'm gonna vote out every single female here." And then somebody posted that and tweeted, "Eva finding a new girl to hate on every episode of Survivor." And then Charity posted that meme to her Instagram story.
Okay, that's kind of funny. They said, you'll have your moment, but...
Right. Let's not forget.
Said.
Right. Let's not forget about your opinions.
Yeah. Okay, that's kind of awesome. At Vula, they are so happy to have just a little bit of food at this absolutely desolate camp. And they talk about how hard it is being on Survivor, but how basically everyone in their families has gone through far worse.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, what a tribe poll.
There are a lot of powerful scenes this episode, but I would say that this is my favorite scene from the whole episode. I was watching this and I was just like, damn, it really puts things in perspective. Like, obviously, this is really serious. This is a game for $1 million. That can be a lot of money to do a lot of things for people. But at the end of the day, you pull the grand scheme, like, you're just running around on an island and lying for fun.
Yeah.
Like,
Which
but my
is the
parents
theme of
survived a
survival.
civil war. My parents also survived a civil war. My parents survived sharecropping. Like, that's insane work. I really, and them getting to all talk about this and bring in their own perspectives in like family narratives, I think was really
Yeah.
important. I was very, my favorite scene from the episode personally.
I agree. It really does. I mean, I don't remember which season we were saying it, but when like all the guys were running around looking for idols, and we're like, they really are just like on a scavenger hunt in the forest looking.
I think
for
it was
their little...
45. We were like, boys are just like being like, it was, I think it was like Austin and Drew, and we were like,
Yeah,
like
it's
boys,
just like,
boys used to go, men used to go to war. That's what he said, and now they're running around finding jewelry on an island.
yeah, in the trees.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it really just is like at the end of the day, so silly,
It is silly.
and I love that. So, and this is such a good moment for them all to bond after
I know.
a weird tribal last night, and I think them also realizing that they are 4 people left, and that could be really messy going into tribal. They're like, you know what? Let's just break down these walls.
Let's just win forever now.
Let's win forever and also be a Final Four to the end. Like, really, we're this block that is unbreakable. So, love that for them. Love this for Kyle and Camilla.
Love that specifically for them. Specifically Kyle, living for that for him.
Right. Yeah, so that is Vula. What a powerful moment. We then move on to the immunity challenge. And they, to give me my little, explanation, they have to pull a boat with a chest out of the water and then carry the chest to the beach, unbraid a big rope braid for a key to the balls in the chest. Then they have to dig under a log to get people through, and then each person has to get a ball into a spot on this table maze balance thing.
I don't know why it's this season specifically. Obviously this is our 4th season of Survivor we've covered. I'm like, I don't know why this season specifically. I'm just like, I'm watching grown adults do a field day on national television. Like, I'm like, these challenges are so unserious.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I swear to God, they put all of different parts of challenges into a random generator and have AI generate the order that these
Pull out
tasks need to be
5
completed.
things.
I know. I'm
Like,
like,
there's so many things. When I'm taking notes, I'm like, how am I really don't think it needs to be this long.
and I'm like, at no point other than, so, like, you have the beginning and you have the end, right? And it's like very rare, I feel like, in between that someone can, I mean, we see it this episode, but like somebody can pull forward. Does that make sense? I'm like,
Yeah.
all these little things that you're doing in the middle, I'm not like,
I wish it was like 3 more intense things.
yes, instead of like 5 little things.
that you can just sort of speed through.
Right.
Because if it was something that you had to be thoughtful about and take your time, then I think there would be more back and forth, like pulling ahead, falling behind, where it just doesn't feel like there's a lot of a challenge.
I'm like, you're doing little tasks over and I'm like, this doesn't seem, I mean, I bet you it's fun in the setting and how thoroughly designed it is and all of these things. I'm sure that's what makes it really fun to play and obviously fun for us to watch is like how serious the stakes are for these challenges. But I'm at the end of the day, I'm watching and I'm like, I did this in 5th grade. All you're missing is a giant parachute thingy that you could throw up in the air and then everybody runs under at the end. Like, I swear to God, I'm like, all I'm missing, all of these things I did on my 5th grade field day.
It feels like point A to point B, like there's nothing in the middle that's actually meaningful.
Right.
Like,
Which makes it, and you know what's crazy? There are a lot of casuals that watch Survivor. Like, they did a poll on Facebook or something. Only watch Survivor for the challenges. Like, that's their
What?
primary engagement with the show. They don't watch it for social strategy, and they don't watch it for, like, the character development. They watch it for the challenges.
and you know what? Back in the day, I get that.
Yeah.
Like, thinking back about the Survivor China challenges, it's like those did feel so much more meaningful and fun
Physical,
to watch.
like-
and just different. Like, they
Yeah.
didn't feel like the same thing every time.
Right.
So not to like continue to just hate on challenges, but as I was like writing the descriptors for these, I'm like,
This isn't
and all the
serious.
rest of the episodes this season particularly, I'm like, this is just not
serious. It feels, I'm like, it just doesn't feel important. I'm like, this feels like gibberish. It feels,
It feels like busy work.
Right, exactly. That's what it feels like. And like, that feels like there's no meat on this. It literally just feels like you're making them do busy work to get to the end point.
Yeah.
Where ultimately, where it's like a puzzle, or it's this thing where they have to roll the ball, where it doesn't matter what really happens before, because everybody ends up at the same point at that point of the challenge. Like, everybody gets there and nobody has any balls in, so it's just this even playing field. So I'm like, everything that happened before this didn't matter. The fact that Kyle got stuck under the thing, or that Siva couldn't throw the ball into the, like, I'm like, none of this really matters.
No.
And I guess that's the point, is like, you want something at the end to be the great equalizer. That's what they say on Australian Survivor. The end, like, the puzzle is the great equalizer of the challenge. You never know what's going to happen until it comes to the puzzle. But then I'm like, at that point, just make that the challenge.
Right, like, what was the point of the rest of it then?
Right.
You know what? Maybe that is one of my hopes for Survivor 50. Maybe let's turn a new leaf with challenges. Let's start, like, trying to reinvent the challenge.
It just feels like a lack of creativity.
Exactly. And you know what? That's why I feel like we low-key, not, like, tune out
right
challenges, but, like, that's my break time.
I've said that. I've literally multiple times on this podcast said I have a hard time doing notes for the challenges, because I literally, like, that's when I tune out. I'm like, I'm not paying attention to the show for the next, because
there's nothing to write about.
No.
Literally, the only thing that you can write about is at the end. It's like, oh, this person, like, pulled forward and they won. That's literally all you can say. Anyways, not to, continue on our challenge rant, but anyways, Vula, guess what? I have no notes in between until we get to the end. Vula comes in first pretty fast, winning immunity for the first time this season.
GAG.
Good for them.
I'm so happy for them. Like, literally, Camilla got the last ball and she said, oh my god, we're first. Oh my god, we're first. Oh my god, we won.
I love that for them.
I'm happy for them. So, because we just had that such cute moment, and they're like, we don't want to vote anybody out.
Their teamwork.
I know.
Yeah. Cute. Okay.
Thomas really held them down. I'm glad they got rid of him.
Dead weight. Okay, so during the challenge, it comes down to Eva, basically, to get the last ball in the little hole part for her tribe. And she is really struggling. This is also where, like, all the promos for the episode were.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you want to say?
Let's just finish talking and then I'll...
Do you want me to just go finish the notes? Okay. So, she's struggling. She is crying and just very visibly having a hard time. Mary was tuning into her job as a counselor in the back and telling her, say it out loud, I can do this. And I was like, okay, Mary, using your occupation. And the rest of the tribe is supporting her too. She finally gets the ball in the spot and all of her emotions come flooding out. And she's really struggling to sort of, like, control her emotions and console herself, even with all of her tribe sort of hugging her and supporting her. And Star was so sweet through all of this. And she's like, your dad would be so proud of you, blah blah blah. Jeff then lets her buddy Joe go over to calm her down the way that she needs, and it's an emotional moment for everyone. Jeff talks about letting someone go, comfort someone on another tribe. I didn't know it was a rule that they couldn't, like, that they did keep them separate. And then Joe's like, I had daughters that were in this position. I would want someone to do the same for them. And she then shares with everyone her autism and her story, and it brings Jeff to tears. And that's sort of the top notes.
Can I say what gave me the biggest ick through all of this?
Yes.
I don't know why she has been giving me the ick, but Chrissy is just... I'm like... I'll get back to the meat and potatoes in a second, but Chrissy, like, when Joe's like, I have daughters, and if my daughter was on the show, I would want someone to treat my daughter like this. And Chrissy was like, that's right, Joe. That's right, Joe. She's never met Joe. Never met Joe. Never met Eva. Never met any of them. That is right. That's right, Joe. I'm like, oh my god.
I have to say something on this.
Yeah.
To defend Chrissy, she, from Chicago, gives Midwest mom down. Like, that is just Midwest culture. I've talked about this, I think, like, with my mom before, of their are no strangers here. Like, everyone acts like they know everyone, and, like, everyone is friends with everyone. So when she was doing this, I was like, this is just so Midwest of her.
And I think that's my West Coast upbringing, where I'm just like,
Yes.
don't do too much. Because then even and I've been noticing this last couple episodes, loves to talk to Jeff. Loves to talk to Jeff. And Jeff never really engaged, which I think is the worst part about everything, is that we know Jeff can engage with players. Like, he will have banter with them. He never banters with Chrissy. And Chrissy always sets it up to banter with him. Like, she always says hi to Jeff specifically. And she'll walk in and she'll be like, she'll be like, hi, Jeff. And he'll be like, hi, Chrissy. Never banters with her. And then at the end of the challenge, he takes their flint, and she was like, I don't like to hear that from you, Jeff. And then he's like, sorry, Siva. Sorry, Chrissy. And I'm like, he doesn't want to talk to you. And she does it. She says it. She said it a couple times. There was another, I think, at last episode or the episode before. She just says things to Jeff specifically, and I'm like, Jeff, I don't. It does not sound like Jeff wants to engage with you. Anyway, back to the meat and potatoes of this moment. I was like, okay, great representation. I obviously love having more representation of everything, not just racial representation or sexuality, queer representation. I like having all types of representation on Survivor. I think it's hard. I don't know. It's just, I'm like, part of me is like, I just think about the viewership of Survivor, and I have a hard time having big moments like this, thinking about what type of audience might really connect with this compared to how this audience, if we think about the conversation we had earlier with the Vula tribe. Like, I don't necessarily think there is an equal, and I think it's shown in Survivor's audience in the past, there's not an equal amount of love being paid to similar things. So I think, like, when I'm watching this scene with Eva, I'm so happy for her speaking her truth. And there's already people posting on Reddit, on Twitter, talking about how important that moment was. Saw a Reddit post of a guy being like, I think, like, this helped with our daughter's diagnosis, like, being able to, like, get her support how she needs, like, being able to visually see somebody represented like this. It's really helpful. But I just know they're, like, when the new era started, and thinking back to Survivor 41, and we're seeing diversity initiative changes, and we're seeing things like, and this is no shade to Eva, this is more shade at the general Survivor viewing audience. This has nothing to do with Eva at all. I'm like, the narrative for a while when Survivor started again was that it got too woke. It got too woke with
when Jeff opened up and was like, how does everyone feel if I don't say, hey, come on in, guys?
Right. And then the audience was pissed off, but I'm like, now here comes Eva, and Eva shares her story, and it's not getting the same sort of backlash of her sharing her narrative. So it's just an interesting thing. But again, it's not nothing to do with Eva specifically. I'm so happy for Eva, and obviously we see after this how much it opens her game up more. Like, it's so it was so. I've never seen such a great choice in a move for someone to do. And then again, obviously, I'm not on the spectrum. I don't have anything like this. Like, if I was on Survivor, there would be nothing about me that I feel I would have to hide to help my game.
Yeah.
So, like, I don't know about that distinction. But I'm like, wow.
That you, like, absolutely hate Jeff. I think you might keep that on, like, the DL.
I would personally not. I would have to tell him every single episode. I'm like,
you'd be the opposite of Chrissy. You'd be like, hey,
I'd be
Jeff.
like, fuck you, Jeff. Jeff in the middle of the challenge would be like, Siva's losing. I'd be, hey, Jeff, this is for you. What was I going to say? I was going to say that there's nothing that I would have to hide from my tribe mates. Nothing I feel about myself I'd have to hide going into Survivor.
Yeah.
So I don't know that dynamic at all, but I'm like, damn, I wish she just was open about it from the beginning. And obviously it's so hard. I don't know the nuances, whatever. And I'm coming bird's eye view, someone who's not on this spectrum. I've never had to share something like that with anybody before. But I'm like, imagine how, like, if because Star says this later, Star's like, I have people in my family on the spectrum. Like, I understand it. And Star being able to understand Eva now and fully get Eva, like, grab, I'm like, that probably saved Eva's ass much longer.
Yeah.
Like, now that just took off the person who wanted her out the most in this game did a full 180 on her this episode.
Because it made everyone see, like, you know,
the full
Eva talks
picture.
about this. Yes, of like the way she talks to people or like connects with people. Her autism influences that. And so if they would have had this picture, if Star specifically would have had this picture the whole time, she'd be like, "Oh no, I get it." Like,
yes, like
you
I
didn't mean to target me when you said that. Right. It was just like your thought process out loud.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad now that she shared it, and I think it's gonna make the game easier for her now that everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, I think. Like with the Star thing, everyone now, like, do you remember when I think it was Thomas and whoever else on their old tribe when they saw Joe and Eva being close? Imagine if, like, Thomas had this context.
Right.
It was like, oh no, like, we don't need to, like, target her because she gave him a bracelet.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that was just, like, a nice thing.
Like, that she did.
And, like, I'm sure she would do that for other people, too, if, like, you guys were close.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just think to make again, but it's like I've never had to tell anybody I'm on the spectrum. I've never had to tell anybody I have autism. So it's like a whole like you shouldn't feel it shouldn't be an obligation that you have to share these things about yourself, especially when there's nobody else in the game sharing this information. Like nobody else has information to share. So it's like why should she have to? But I'm glad that things are gonna hopefully smooth out for her. I mean, like I'm not an Eva stan. I still do think she's had not problematic, but like things with her game that I'm not vibing with. I'm like I don't love.
And like I said last week, I'm pretty sure. Like her game, I still like. No matter what, it's the game she's playing that you get comment on.
Yes,
and like it's open to critiquing and like dissecting.
Yeah.
So.
And her game she's playing. I'm like it's. Fine.
Yeah.
But it was good for her. I'm glad we got some more representation on the TV.
Yeah.
And Siva's going to tribal.
Okay. Well, let's go to Logie first before we get to Siva. And Eva is feeling so supported and accepted by her tribe, and it's really bringing everyone together for this moment, for right now.
Yeah.
We'll see how it plays out in the future, but yeah, right now, shout out. Star is really shining in her support for Eva, and like we talked about earlier, she also has.
I love Star. I'm obsessed
for Eva down. I was like,
I'm obsessed with Star in a way that I just like. I want you to get more screen time so bad.
And, like, I want you to give me a motivating speech. Like I want to be going through a hard time, and then Star's like, "No, you got it." Like I want that. Maybe. Should we do that for our cameo at the end? We can
get Star to give us a motivational. We might have to invent. We'll think deeper about this, but yeah. No, that's so funny. I'm obsessed with Star. We should like come up with a like. I'm going through this. I need you to give me motivational speech.
Motivate me like you did,
Eva.
For Eva. I would love that.
Obsessed with Star. Love her.
Obsessed. She doesn't make all of my favorite moves, though.
Oh, no. In
this moment, not to talk too much about our girl Star, but she decides, you know what, this is going to be a clean slate moment for everyone. No more lies on a show that's about lying. No more deception. Guys, I have the Beware advantage, and I have not solved it yet.
Let's talk about how half the half the show knows about her having the idol at this point. Well, she doesn't technically have it anymore, but girl.
What's this message? So like love the support down. However, I don't think it, I think we could just put a cap on it.
Right.
But instead, she does tell everyone about it. They all go around together looking for the rest of the clues to be able to solve it. And Eva ends up solving the Beware advantage. So to thank her, Star gives Eva the idol.
Too good.
She's nice. She's a nicer person than me.
Star has something. She has something planned.
Thank you so much for opening that for me.
For me.
For
me!
But, maybe this does put, okay, here's what I'm interested to see.
You're not on Twitter.
No.
There's a Star Updates account that is so funny. And the way that they spin every single thing to be a positive about Star is so funny. What did they post about? You keep talking. I'm going to see if I can find it.
Okay. Well, what I was going to say is I wonder how after this moment, how long it's going to, take for things to wear off and, for Eva to become a target. Star giving her this idol, first of all, makes Star, I think, in a lot of ways look good, at least in this moment. But now, that is putting a target on Eva's back in, a really funny way. What did you say?
I didn't even see this. Okay, so they've been doing updates throughout the whole season with Star. This is great. All of these accounts are crazy. There's a charity update account. And Star reposted the charity update account and it says, breaking. Eva tells Charity she has autism. It's about time. And it has this picture. And then Star Updates posted, and this is at Starbase48 on Twitter. Star says, Toomey has thanked Eva for sharing her story, and it has given them a new bond in and outside of the game. Especially with Eva being the one to finish the idol for Star, it is time to put this chapter to rest. Amen. Autism Part 5, the final chapter.
Part 5.
And then the next post is, Star has told 8 out of 14 remaining cast members about her advantage, found it with the Logi tribe, and then gave it to Eva. Oh, her ability to minimize her threat level is legendary. And then it has this is the graphic. It has idol found, idol given.
I need to get the people that run that on the
Within 5 episodes, Star told 8 out of 17 other players in the game about that she had an idol. Would Kyle Richards be proud of how open and honest Queen Toomey is? And it's all the people she told about her idol.
Okay, they have a point though, because everyone did know about this, and I think they could have used that to blindside Star. And instead now Eva has it, and a lot of people know that Eva has it. So that's really funny. I don't have Twitter or want to go back on there, however.
You shouldn't.
That is the most tempting thing I've ever seen. Do you think they have an Instagram?
I don't know. I don't think they do. There's nothing in their bio, but lots of the cast have been interacting with this account specifically. Say has been interacting with it a lot, and I don't know who else has been, but they're too good. They're too good.
I need them to run co-manage our social media.
Right. Get them on the TikTok and the.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Well, let's move over to Siva. Bianca is very nervous to go to Tribal without a vote. Okay, not to jump ahead, but spoiler alert, Bianca goes home. That means that out of the last 3 Tribals, 2 are victims of not having a vote.
Of the forced journeys.
Yeah.
And, okay, not to play devil's advocate, I think both Justin and Bianca had viable options to survive.
Yes.
And they both sort of ruined it for themselves. But to play Cedric nobody knows where Cedric's head is at ever. So you get voted out for not saying, you get voted out for saying. You can't win a battle with that man.
Cedric heard that she didn't have a vote, and you just got war flashes.
Yeah, he did. No. I knew. Okay, not to jump too far forward. I knew instantly. He had that blazer on. They were about to leave, and she said, "I have to tell you something." And I knew. I said,
"Wait,
don't
do
do
your
it."
teeth chattering noise. You're
that
really
one?
good at it. Yeah.
I knew instantly. I was like, "Girl, you are gonna regret this so bad."
Which is
because Say told her Flashback to last episode. Say told her because Bianca went up to Say and was like, I want to work with you instead. And Say said, you need to feel him out before you trust him because I would not do that if I were you. Say told her so. Our mother is right again.
Right. It just Say have a good Twitter
update account? I don't know.
Okay. Anyways, so Bianca's nervous to go into trouble without a vote, so she decides to pin the two pairs of two against each other so that it will become a tie between Chrissy and Say. Bianca tells Cedric that she does have. Were you?
No, sorry. Okay. Yes, she does. No, she does have. Sorry. She does have an update account, but it doesn't.
It does not compare to stars.
Yes.
Okay. So Bianca tells Cedric and Mitch that Mitch and Chrissy want Say out, and that she wants to work with him and Say to get Chrissy out. And then she basically says the thing in reverse to Mitch and Chrissy about going for Say. Say says that in a confessional, she's like, working with Cedric is like dragging a puppy dog through sand. I'm like, probably.
I'm kind of obsessed with Cedric. Is that a crazy thing to say? Him on this season is creating maximum chaos, and I don't even think he knows what he's doing. Like, I don't think he knows that he, is causing this response.
He's, one of those people that is, I don't think he is effortlessly funny. I wouldn't call him funny. But, when there's people that aren't funny, intentionally, but then everything they say is funny. Mm-hmm. That's the vibe it's giving.
It is
giving. You just don't even know your power.
Something about him is so unserious. And the fact that he's a butt doctor on top of all of it, I'm like, it really just adds to everything. The whole story is developed in a really nice way.
Yeah. Start to finish.
Yeah.
It's not even over. So then Cedric's confessional, he says that he wants Say out later, but he wants her around now because she is the person that he trusts second after himself.
King.
Huh? Huh?
If you can't trust yourself, how in the hell are you going to trust somebody else? Can I get an amen? I think that's how he said it.
Yeah. That's what. Oh my god. Maybe that's why he's bald and wears glasses.
Yeah, I'm telling you, baby, that's RuPaul.
Oh my god, no! This is why he was cast because Ru is never gonna go on Survivor, and Jeff wants Ru on more than anybody else. So this is as close as we can get
to RuPaul.
Cedric, this might be RuPaul.
This might be RuPaul.
Anyways, so then Cedric, Chrissy, and Mitch are talking, and they're like, vote with us to get Say out. And he's like, sure. And then Bianca hears about this and is like, okay, slay. That makes my life so much easier. I don't have to worry about a tie. So she goes to talk with Cedric, and he's like, I'm not necessarily going to do that. I want to work with Say now, but not long term. So I'm going to vote for Chrissy. And Cedric, what I'm not really understanding about this is how much longer do you want her in?
Right.
Because everyone in this has merge on the brain. We know it's actually going to come up next episode. It looks like the merge, some sort of thing. So you're right there. Why do you need her right now? If you have people that want to work with you and you know that you don't want her around long term, but it's only going to get messier and harder to do that necessarily as you get into the merge. So and I actually think she might be a disadvantage to have for you if people know that you and her work together and have been in an alliance. Then you're going to not be privy to information, I think. Because they don't need your number at that point. Mm-hmm. So, what is the reason to keep Say in the game now and to not just vote with other people that you can use long term that you might want to work with?
Yeah. And especially because Say is proven to be somebody who holds grudges.
And he even says that.
Yes, he knows that Say is sus about him. And I'm like, ultimately, am I mad? No. I'm glad that he's keeping Say in. But, You're right. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to want to keep her in the game when you have two people that want to work with you.
And
Multiple
imagine
people.
you work with them to vote who looks like your ally out, and then they're like, "Oh, he's loyal. He's with us."
Right.
Like,
I don't know, because then people always do that bullshit where they spin it, they're like, wow, if he was able to vote Say out, what will he do to me?
true.
That's the type of shit that would piss me
Yes,
off.
but I also feel like Say is a big enough personality where they can be
Right.
like, "No, I get you."
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe he thinks this, like, ultimatum he made, this stipulation he had with Mary and Say is gonna last him. But it... I don't, he's interesting. Though his thought process on things is very interesting.
And maybe we just don't get it because we're not butt doctors.
Right.
So maybe you learned that in butt doctor school.
Maybe.
Anyways, sort of.
If you can't be a butt doctor, how are you going to butt doctor your... That didn't work like I wanted to.
Okay. At the last second, Bianca, as we've already alluded to or said, she tells Cedric that she doesn't have a vote. She could not have said this to a worse person because we know how he works under pressure.
Bianca, like, and there's no way for her to have known that, obviously, because she
No.
wasn't there during the Justin Tribal. But, like, she had... It was a pretty perfect... I mean, obviously not perfect. She doesn't have a vote. But the plan that she had set up was pretty perfect. As perfect as it could have been.
And she did a good job
She
getting
did.
it in their head. Like,
And
fully taking the target off her. Like, she wasn't even a question.
And I do fully believe that Cedric would have voted Say out had it gone to a tie.
Yeah.
And I think it would have worked fine. I think what's the saying? She should beg for forgiveness instead of asking for permission.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I think she got too hung up on the fact that she was gonna burn bridges.
Do you think maybe that Cedric at some point told her about the Justin thing, or maybe Say did, and they were like, he didn't tell us that he didn't have a vote, and like that was eating away at her? Like,
Maybe.
because otherwise, what happened?
I think it was too, like, voting Say, it was too perfect to vote Say out. The idea that because ultimately, like, as best case scenario as it was for Bianca for it to have gone to a 2-2 tie, the ultimate scenario would have been a 3-1 on Say. Like, that would have been the best option. And so I think that plan was so close to coming to fruition just for Cedric at the last minute to be like, I don't think I'm going to do it. Like, all she needed was to sway Cedric. And I understand her wanting to do that. But I think the risk in telling Cedric was outweighed the risk of them going to a tie and then, like, being mad at her.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that Mitch or Cedric would have risked rocks. I don't think there was a world where either of them would have risked rocks for Chrissy or Say. I don't think that would have happened. And Bianca would have only been vulnerable had they gone to rocks. So I think she would have been fine if she had just let them go to a tie and then let them go back to camp and let them be mad at her. And I don't think they would have been that mad at her. I think the only person that would have been mad is probably Cedric, but ultimately, like, Cedric wants Say out at some point, so it's better now than later, you know?
And you know that you're probably not going to be on this tribe for that long anyways. So,
right.
Really,
like, the numbers are dwindling if we can use our mathematician skills.
Yeah.
I think it was such a bad judgment call. And it sucks that her whole game is going to come down to this literally, like, minutes before they leave for tribal split decision. Like, she does it in the heat of the moment.
And you can tell she's, like, sick about it.
Yes. It sucks that her whole game is going to come down to that specific moment. Yeah. But she played herself. She should have just burned the bridges and asked for forgiveness. It's better to have people mad at you and you still be in the game than risking not being in the game at all.
Yeah.
At least you're still in the game in that scenario.
Yeah. Well, let's get to her final moments. we get to tribal, and Say and Cedric, our tribal veterans at this point, talk about how they sort of know how to prepare more going into tribal compared to those just joining us for the first time. Cedric, anyways, they talk about how easy the vote for Bianca would be with her being the odd one out, and they talk about, looking for where there might be cracks within the other alliances, and Bianca's like, yeah, or use me to make yourself a 3-vote majority, even though, she doesn't have a vote. And then let's just get to the vote. Unfortunately, we have 1 vote for Say, 1 for Chrissy, and Chrissy and Cedric voted for Bianca.
Which is a blindside to the audience, too, because we were not let in. We weren't shown any plans that Cedric spilled to Chrissy. But Chrissy seemed very, not upset, but annoyed at Bianca.
Yeah.
Say was like, what the fuck happened? And Chrissy was like, did you realize that there was only 4 votes in the urn?
Okay, yeah, this attitude was crazy.
She was like, did you see there was only 2 votes in the urn? She lied to us about not having a vote, or about having a vote.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, calm down. Not too much.
This is the being mothered to death that Say was talking about earlier.
Right. But yeah, it was it sucks to see Bianca and Thomas go back to back. I was really kind of excited for both of them together. And then I think Bianca had a good second there where she was like, I have to play my own game. And I was like, oh, I'm excited to see where this goes, just for her to go home.
Yeah.
But it was a fun episode, I feel.
Yeah.
Fun little vote. Cedric yet again at the scene of the crime.
Yet again. Yeah. There's been some funny memes I've seen about Cedric.
He's just a funny guy.
He's such a silly goose. Well, that wraps up this episode of Survivor Season 48.
Slay.
Thank you for joining us. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok in the meantime. And we will see you next week for episode 6. Crazy.
I know.
Bye.
See you all. Smooches.